do a small prayer and get into our regular Ramayana session. Wow, I'm surprised. The weather is so good. Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Arusya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmike Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinah Shunvan Ramakathanadam Ko Nayati Parangatim Yat Pibam Satatam Ramacharitamrita Sagaram Adruptastam Munim Vande Pracheta Samakalmasham Goshpadi Kritavarasam Masaki Kritarakshasam Ramayana Mahamala Ratnam Vande Anilatmajam Anjananandanam Veeram Janaki Sokanashanam Kapi Samakshahantaram Vande Lanka Bhayankaram Amishi Kritamartandam Goshpadi Kritasagaram Trini Kritadasagrivam Anjaneyam Namamyaham Ullangya Sindho Sarilas Sarilam Yastokavahnim Janakatmajayah Adaya Teneva Tadaha Lankam Namamitam Pranjali Ranjaneyam Anjaneyam Adipadalananam Kanchanatri Kamaniya Vigraham Parijata Tarmulavasinam Bhavayami Paumananandaram Yatra yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamustakanjali Bhashpavari Paripurnalochanam Marutim Namatarakshasantakam Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayudhamukyam Sriramadutam Sirasanamami Yakkarnanjali Samputaihi Harasam Yakpipatyadrat Valmikir Vadanaravindaghalitam Ramayanakyam Madhu Janma Vyadi Jara Vipatti Maranaihi Atyanta Sopadhruvam Samsara Saha Vihaya Gacchati Puman Vishnor Padam Syaswatam Tadupagata Samasa Sandhi Yogam Sama Maduropana Tardha Vakya Baddham Raghuvara Charitam Munipranitam Dasasirasasya Vadam Nishamayadvam Valmiki Giri Sambhutanam Ramasagara Gamini Punatu Bhuvanam Punyat Ramayanam Mahanadi Sloka Sara Samakirnam Sarga Kallola Sankulam Kanda Grahi Mahaminam Vande Ramayanarnavam Veda Vede Pare Pumsijate Dasaradatmajam Vedaha Pracheta Sadasit Sakshad Ramayanatmana Vaidehi Saitam Surudramutare Haine Mahamandape Madhye Pushpakamasane Manimaye Virasane Sustitam Agre Vachaiti Prapanjanusute Tattvam Munibhyaparam Vakyantam Bharatadi Parivruto Ramam Bhaje Syamalam Vame Bhumisuta Puruscha Hanuman Paschat Sumitra Sutah Sitrugno Bharatascha Parshvadalayoho Vaivyaadikoneshucha Sugrivascha Vibhishanascha Ivarat Tarasto Jambavan Madhye Neelasaroja Komalaruchim Ramam Bhaje Syamalam Mata Ramo Matpita Ramo Bhrata Ramo Matsakha Ragaveshah Sarvasvam me Ramachandro Dayalu Nanya Devam Naivajane Najane Sakete Saradindu Kundadavale Saude Mahamandape Paryasta Agardupadi Palalite Karpura Deepojvale Sugrivangada Jambavat Parivrutam Saumitrina Sevitam Leela Manusha Vigraham Raghuram Ramam Bhaje Syamalam Meghasyamam Mahabahum Sirasattam Dridavratam Kada Drakshamahe Ramam Jagatah Sokanashanam Jayat Yatibalo Ramo Lakshmanascha Mahabalaha Raja Jayat Sugriva Raghavena Abhipalita Hadasoham Kosalendrasya Ramasya Krishta Karmanaha Hanuman Shatru Sanyanam Nihantam Marutatmajahana Ravana Sahasram Me Yudde Pratibulam Bhavet Shilavistu Prahattara Padaparischa Sahasrasaha Ardhaitvam Purim Lankam Abhivadhyascha Maidilim Samradardo Gamishyami Misatam Sarvarakshasam Dharmatma Satyasandascha Ramo Dasariduryadi Paurushecha Apratidwandaha Sarayena Jahi Ravanim Namam Vishnupadaya Krishnapreshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityaname Namaste Saraswate Devagauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Tapaswadhyaya Niratam Tapasvim Vagvinamvaram Narada Paripapracha Valmiki Ramayana Om Ramayana Hare Krishna. So last week we have stopped exactly where Angada have whacked the demon. The demon's name was not mentioned in Ramayana. It is just said that the demon was so fearsome. But we will go back a little bit into our story and then come back and then take it forward as we interlace it with each episode. So, the Vanaras from the east side, who were led by Vinatha, when they went to search Sita, they came back and then they reported that they could not find Sita. And the Vanaras who went northward, with their leader being Setabali, they also returned. they also reported that they could not find Sita. They have searched all the mountains, rivers, caves and villages and the kingdoms. And then the Vanaras who went westward, who were led by Sushena, they also came back. They reported to Rama that they could not find Sita. But they were all hopeful that the southern party, consisting of Hanuman, would find Sita. And they were also thinking in these terms that isn't it Rama gifted his ring only to Hanuman? So they were hopeful that the southern party would return successful. So the southern party, they first arrived at the mountain ranges of India. They searched each and every cave, but they couldn't find. They were exhausted. And then they were thirsty. They reached a forest which was cursed by a sage called Kandu. That Maharshi had a son who was 10 years old, and then that son, for some natural reasons, he died away. He left his body when he was at the age of a tender age of 10 years. The sage Kandu, being angry because of this misfortune, he cursed the forest to be of fruitless, leafless, and also waterless. So the forest was dried up, withered, and it looked so ghastly. So the Vanaras arrived at that forest, and they were still discouraged, disappointed, and then they did not find Sita. But then they crossed that forest and then reached another forest, which was terrible and fierce. And when they were all watching, they heard the fearsome noise of a Rakshasa. And it is said in Valmiki Ramayana that this Rakshasa was so fearful that even the demigods trembled in fear, but his name was not mentioned. And then when the Rakshasas looked at them, this mountainous, gigantic Rakshasa started running towards the Vanaras. At that time, all the Vanaras started to girdle their loincloths, and then they were ready as wrestlers. And the Rakshasas started running towards the Vanaras. Angada, being the troop leader, he gathered all his strength into his left arm, and then with his palm, he slapped the Rakshasa. And the Rakshasa fell down like an inverted mountain upon receiving that terrible and fatal blow from Angada. And all the Vanaras congratulated Angada. That's where we stopped last week. And then, since the Vanaras are so tired and they were disappointed that they could not find Sita, Angada encouraged them. He said, Anirvedancha dakshancha manasascha aparajayam. He said, ingenuity, insistency, and also an indefeatable heart is what is going to help us to achieve our mission. So in this, you should all, you should not be disappointed at this point. You have not tried your best. And any accomplishment that you want to achieve, and if you don't give it a try even at the beginning, that is a sin. So for accomplishing anything, you should try first of all. So get up and try to search for Sita. And this I am saying for your welfare and not for anything else. If you don't search, if you don't get up now and search, Sugriva has already issued a decree that he is going to execute us if you don't find Sita within the prescribed 1 month of time. So when Angada encouraged all the Vanaras like that, Gandhamadana, who was the son of Kuvera, another monkey, that leader got up and said, whatever Angada is saying is true. Get up and search for Sita. Our liberation lies only in that searching of Sita alone. So get up and search for the demon Ravana as well. And then all the Vanaras got up. They searched every nook and corner of India mountains, but still they could not find. And then they were still thirsty, and they lost all their energy. They were full of fatigue. And at that time, they heard some birds and animals coming out of a cave with wet bodies. They thought maybe in that cave there could be water. And Hanuman, when looked at all those cranes, swans and peacocks which had wet bodies and wet feathers, he said, let's get into this cavity, this Rikshabila. We might find some water in there, because I see these animals with their bodies wet. So all the Vanaras, they have joined hands and then started getting inside the cave. They formed a human chain. This is one of the natural descriptions of Valmiki. This is the most fantastic nature of Valmiki's description. That when these Vanaras entered, they entered like a human chain. They held hand in hand and then they entered one by one so that nobody would be missed in the darkness. The caves are so dark. I don't know how many of you have done spelunking or cave thing. Have you ever entered into a cave? Usually caves are dark, and some may wonder, can a cave be that big? Yes, there are big caves. I have personally witnessed one cave in Tennessee, Fall Creek Falls Cave. It is 8 miles deep. You can go inside and it takes a whole day to explore it and then come back. There are 3 rooms, and then you have to crawl through rat holes to get into the another room. And then after crossing 3 such rooms in that cave, huge rooms, they are very big, like maybe 5 times this building. And then there's a huge tunnel which is 8 miles long, or not 8 miles, 3 or 4 miles long inside. Tunnel caused by water. So similar cave, all the Vanaras entered with hand in hand, and then they started getting inside. The cave was pitch black. They could not see any hand in front of their eyes. But then upon going a yojana distance inside the cave, they found golden trees, golden buildings, and water which was lucid and crystal clear. And in that they found golden lotuses. But they were fragrant. Even though they were golden lotuses, they were fragrant. And even the trees, all the leaves were fresh and they were fragrant, even though they are made of gold. All the tortoises and fishes, they were all gold. And then they saw buildings made of gilded with silver and gold. And they thought, where from all these riches have come in this mountainous cave? Then there arrived a lady. Her name was Swayamprabha. And Hanuman went forward and with folded palms, he addressed her, "My dear lady, who are you? Why have you been residing in this cave? What is the reason for all these riches inside this cave? And what is this place called?" So he questioned all these questions to Swayamprabha. Swayamprabha, the old and gentle lady, she started replying to Hanuman. She said, "Oh my dear Vanaras, my name is Swayamprabha. I am the daughter of Meru Savarni." Meru Savarni is the sage I discussed when the Vanaras went in the western direction. There they found Meru Savarni. He is a great sage. He is like Brahma himself. So I am daughter of Meru Savarni. And this big city, this huge city, is built by Mayadanava. And he is a universal architect. And he was the architect for the demons, Mayadanava. He built this excellent city. And then he was killed by Indra with a thunderbolt because he was indulging himself in pleasures with an apsara called Hema, who was my friend. And thereupon when Indra killed this Mayadanava, this city of Rikshabila, this cavity is called Rikshabila, it was gifted to Hema, an apsara. And then the apsara put me as a guardian for this cave. And she was my friend. And she also gave me a blessing that I should take care of this kingdom. And in my guardianship, this kingdom will flourish forever. And like that, I have been guarding this kingdom of Rikshabila. When she said that, then she asked this, she questioned, "Why are you Vanaras here? How come you have entered this cave? What is the reason for you to come here?" Then Hanuman replied, "There once upon a time lived a king. He is a great charioteer. His name is Dasaratha. And his son is the mighty Raghava, Rama. He, upon his father's wish, have come to the forest. Then his wife Maithili was abducted by a demon called Ravana. We are searching for them. And Raghava made friendship with Sugriva. And upon the decree of Sugriva, all the Vanaras are searching the entire planet. And me, Angada, Jambavan, and so many other Vanaras such as Suhotra and Sarari and Saragulma, we have started searching the southern direction. And upon reaching this forest, we all felt very tired and thirsty. And when we saw these birds and animals coming out of this cave with wetted wings, I suggested these Vanaras, even though they know that there would be water in this cave, I suggested them that let's enter this cave and get water from the cave. And thereupon we entered this cave and we have met you. And that is our story. And as and when Hanuman told this, Swayam Prabha was very happy, and she said that I am so glad that you have come here, and because you are involved in the service of Rama, I will also bestow my service as a help to Ramachandra. I will transport you out of this cave. It is impossible for any living being who once has entered this cave to go out. Not any living being, but other than animals, any other living being, it is impossible to go out. So close your eyes, I will transport you outside of this Rikshabila cavity. As and when she said that, all the Vanaras, they closed their eyes. It is beautifully mentioned that their lotus-like eyes were closed with black fingers of the monkeys, tender and long fingers of the monkeys. And then when they closed their eyes, the daughter of Meru Savarni, Swayam Prabha, transported them to the southern shore near a mountain called Prasravana. You might ask, Rama was also living on this mountain Prasravana, how come? There is another peak with the same name, Prasravanagiri. So she transported to the southern tip of the Vindhya mountain ranges, almost closer to the southern ocean. And then there they came out. You may ask, how come Vindhyas, divide the Indias across? How can they come to the southern ocean? The Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats are named recently. Even those ranges could be a part of Vindhya ranges in Ramayana times. We don't know. So they came to a Parvata called Prasravana, and it was near the southern range, the southern ocean. They arrived there. But when they came out, it was already spring season. It was all blossoming. So then the Vanaras started to think, we have been summoned by Sugriva nearly in the month of Asvija, around October or so, in the month of Asvija. And then within 15 days time we arrived there, and thereupon 10 days later he ordered us, and in the month of Margasirsha he ordered us, and then we left in the month of Margasirsha. But he gave us a complete month called Pushya, the Pushyami month, in which we have to search for Sita. And that month has already passed, and now it's almost spring season. All the trees have blossomed with bouquets of flowers, and they are hanging down, their branches, because of the weight of the flowers, they are hanging down. So the spring season has arrived. So it is certain that we have lapsed our deadline. We have already passed our deadline. How come we can go back now to Kishkindha? So the Vanaras started to converse between each other. Then Angada, the prince, came forward and replied, and he first made obeisances to all the elders like Hanuman, Jambavan, and Suhatra, Sarari, Saragulma. Then he started speaking. My dear Vanaras, Sugriva has given us a month time, and we have already passed it. Now, if we go back to Kishkinda, Sugriva will mercilessly execute us. Sugriva is a very disciplinarian. If we go now, having passed the deadline and not finding Sita, he will take this opportune moment and kill us all. So let's not go to Kishkindha. Let's lay down here and fast unto death. That Sugriva has made me crown prince, not because he loves me, but because Rama made me the crown prince. And because of Rama, he made me the crown prince. That Sugriva has hostile feelings against my father. And usually it is said that the son is the only property that you possess. So me, being the enemy's son, I am the only last residue of his enemy territory. So he might kill me. And also you, being my friends. so let's not go to Kishkinda, let's stay here and fast unto death. As and when Angada said that, Hanuman and other elderly Vanaras, they started to look at Angada. Hanuman thought Angada possessed eightfold intelligence. Why is he behaving like this? But then another Vanara named Tara, Lieutenant Tara or Captain Tara, he got up and said, why should we all waste our lives here by dying? Let's go get into that cave, Rikshabila cavity, which is full of water, plenty of fruits and roots and honey. Let's go there and live happily. Who else can find us there? So let's live there. When Tara proposed that thing, Angada also accepted it. Then Hanuman thought it is time to employ the fourfold tactics to teach the Vanaras a lesson, the impudent Vanaras a lesson. Sama, Dana, Veda, Dandopaya. So Hanuman employed all these four. Sama being appreciative, peaceful. Dana giving some gifts. Veda creating dissension among the Vanaras. And then Dandana. Finally letting them know about the punishment they are going to receive if they do this kind of act. So Hanuman first thought Angada had eightfold intelligence, fourfold tactics, and the 14 qualities of a prince. The eightfold intelligence being Susrusha, Shravana, Dharana, Grahana, Uha, Apoha, Arthajnana and Tattvajnana. So Hanuman thought he had all these intelligence, but now why is he behaving like this? So let me employ the Samadhana Veda Dandopaya. Then he said, O Angada, your father Sugriva is not an unrighteous person. He is a great king. Honesty is alone his property. You cannot blame or accuse your foster father Sugriva like this, in this manner. If you go back and ask and tell your father what you have achieved or what you have not, he will certainly pardon you. Not only this, you very well know that myself, Jambavan and Suhotra and Vanaras like Neela would never accept the proposal that you and Tara have made. We will never tag along with you into that cave and we will live there. We shall not do this. So take it for granted that we, the elderly Vanaras and the mighty Vanaras of your troop, will never accept this proposal and we will not get there. And upon we not tagging along with you, you are left with these fickle-minded monkeys. And all these Vanaras, upon entering the Rikshabila cavity, after certain time have passed, they will think of their kith and kin, their sons, wives, and then their relatives. These Vanaras will lament upon their separation from their kith and kin, and then they will desert you also. And you, being a lonely Vanara in that cave, will die like a frightened monkey. Even if a blade of grass strays, you would be afraid that it is an astra. So why do you want to die like that? And when Hanuman said these words, then Angada replied, how can you say Sugriva is a righteous person? He has killed his own brother Vali. He has usurped my father's wife Tara, my mother Tara. When a demon named Dundubi attacked the kingdom of Kishkinda, both Sugriva and Vali went to fight that demon. No, it's Mayavi. It's Mayavi. Yeah, Mayavi. Both my father and Sugriva both went into that cavity. And when Vali was waging a battle, Sugriva lidded that cave with a rock and came back and ruled the kingdom, taking his brother's wife as his wife. All this is known to you and me. How can I trust that Sugriva? It is impossible to trust him. Then Hanuman replied back again, saying that, my child, even if you think that you can live safely here in this cave, Rikshabila, haven't Swayamprabha, the daughter of Merusavarni, told you that Indra, once upon a time, with his thunderbolt, killed the Mayadanava? So that cave is accessible to Indra. If it is accessible to Indra's thunderbolt, then how can you be safe there from the arrows of Lakshmana. Those arrows of Lakshmana, in an instance, can split this cave and its mountain, just like an arrow shreds an whole of a lotus flower or a bowl made of leaves. Similarly, those arrows can shred this mountain and kill you. All you Vanaras are not safe. You do not require Rama to come and punish you. Lakshmana is enough. If Lakshmana's arrows, he has many iron arrows which are similar and akin to the thunderbolt of Indra. So cast off this idea of straying away from your dharma. Come back to Kishkinda and report to your father what you have so far done, and report what you have so far found, and Sugriva will be pleased with you. The only place for you, Angada, is the lap of your father Sugriva, not anywhere else. Then when Hanuman explained all this, then Angada said, okay, since we cannot live in this cavity as well, let's sit here and fast unto death. Is it not that Jatayu, a bird, gave up his life for the sake of Rama? Is it not that many animals are coming forward and giving up their life for the sake of Rama? So let's also, as animals, let's give up our life sitting here and fasting unto death. So all the Vanaras joined around Angada. They said, yes, let's do that. And then they all went and fetched kusa grass and then darbas, and then the pointed edges of the darba grass were pointing towards the south direction. And then they sat on those darbas, and then they were facing eastern direction, and then they started their fasting. And when all this commotion was going on, another bird, his name is Sampati, he came out of his cave slowly, crawling out, and then he looked at all these Vanaras covering the entire region. Then he thought, oh, alas, my prayers have come true. So long I have been hungry, and here comes the food for me. I will eat one Vanara per day. I mean, he made his calculations, and he said, I will be happy for the next coming days. So he was thinking, and then he was looking at the Vanaras. And then the Vanaras were crying, isn't it that Jatayu gave up his life? And why did Dasaratha give those boons to Rama? Let him give. And Rama, why did Dasaratha give boons to Kaikeyi? And upon fulfilling those boons, why did Rama enter the forest of Dandaka? And when the demon king Ravana abducted Sita, Jatayu had fought valiantly and killed that Ravana, and he was killed by Ravana. And upon Rama meeting Sugriva ordered us here. Finally, it has come to our death that we are staying here and has to give up our life. So they were lamenting, but they recited the entire Ramayana in the process. But when they spoke about Jatayu, Sampati heard the name of Jatayu, and then his heart was struck. Some chord in his heart was struck, and Sampati cried out. And they looked at Sampati, and Vanara said, and one bird, Jatayu, gave up his life for the sake of Rama, and here there is another bird who is trying to eat us, who are in the service of Rama. And when Sampati heard the name Jatayu again, he cried out, oh Vanaras, who is that who announced the name of my brother, my precious brother, who is more than my own life to me? See, in spite of so many thousands of years, Sampati remembered his brother and he was crying. Who is that one who announced my brother's death, my precious brother? My heart is rendered with sorrow. Who is that? Then when he announced it, all the Vanaras looked at the bird, and then they thought, oh, maybe he is devising a plan to kill us all. But anyway, we have decided to fast unto death. We are trying to fast and to die. And what difference does it make if we go near and the bird eats us? There's a saying, whether if the consumer comes to the idli, or if the idli goes to the consumer, would the idli care? So the Vanaras were in that mood. So what should I care if the bird eats us, if Sampati eats us? So they didn't know the name of the bird yet. So then the bird cried out again, get me down from this hill. I want to hear all about my brother Jatayu. Then the Vanaras approached, and then they brought him down from that hill. And Sampati came down and he started to question, who are you? Why have you come here? Tell me all about what happened to my brother Jatayu. How is he killed by that demon king Ravana? Then they told Dasarada Ramaraja, they told Ramayana again to Sampati. Then Sampati, with a heavy heart, he started to speak. My brother Jatayu is killed by that Ravana. Please take me to that ocean, southern ocean, where I can offer oblations to him. And before that they asked, do you know Sita? Have you seen her? Please tell me her whereabouts. Then Sampati replied, that Ravana is a son of Vishwavasu Brahma, and he is the brother of Vaishravana. Vaishravana is Kubera. That Ravana lives in Lanka, and he is ruling that kingdom of Lanka in the southern region. Here is an interesting thing to know about. The same verse that Jatayu uses in Aranyakanda, just before he gives up his body, he tells Rama that Putra Vishwavasu Brahma, Vishwavasu Sakshat, Brata Vaishravanacha. He tells that much and then he gives up his body. Putra Vishwavasu Sakshat, Brata Vaishravanacha. And then he gives up his body. And that is picked up by Sampati here in Kishkinda Kanda, and he tells the same sloka, same sentence. Putra Vishwavasu Sakshat, Brata Vaishravanacha. Today one devotee was asking me, Prabhuji, did you observe the difference in tone between these Vanaras and Sugriva, the regal families, and also the, just the soldiers, and also differences between the Vanaras communication and also, how the Raghavas speak. Did you see any difference in all this? How the sages speak, how Rama speaks? Yes, in Valmiki Ramayana, you can clearly see that if Agastya speaks, he has a tone. He maintains the same kind of thing. And if Rama speaks, his language you can figure out. And if Sita speaks, I like the best. Sita's language is the best out of the entire Ramayana. Her words are very witty, very eloquent, and very poetic. And you can see, these words are spoken by Sita. Okay, this is spoken by Hanuman. You can say that. So here is another example where his brother Jatayu has spoken the same language, and now Sampati is speaking the same thing. He picks up from there and then he tells, yes, he is the son of Vishwavasu Brahma and brother of Vaishravana, who is Kubera. He rules Lanka and he is in the southern region. You have to cross the southern ocean, which is 100 yojanas. I am old and feeble and my wings are burnt, and henceforth I cannot take revenge on that enemy who had killed my brother. All I can do is help Rama so that you and Rama will go to Lanka and kill the common enemy of both of us, who is Ravana. So an enemy's enemy, if the enemy of an enemy is your friend, this tactic is also, subtly, in an indirect way presented in Ramayana. Maybe that's why Chanakya got it, that's where from Chanakya got it. So when Sampati tells this and Sampati requests, I cannot go to that ocean, please take me to that ocean so that I can offer oblations to my departed brother. This is the immediate look at the culture. In spite of, his wings are burnt, he is old, he is feeble, but, he's doing his dharma. To his brother, he had to offer oblations that is his duty, and he is going there, and he is doing that. So they took him to the water, and then he offered his oblations, and then brought him back. Then now all the Vanaras developed some kind of trust in Sampati. They thought, okay, he's not going to kill us. So they approached him, and then they surrounded him, and then they asked him, please tell us the whereabouts of this Ravana, and how come you have heard about Sita? Then Sampati replies, actually Jambavan asked this question, tell us everything in detail. Because the Vanaras asked something and then Sampati is a stranger, he said something, but Jambavan's duty as an elderly troop leader, he has to come and make sure that the information they got is right. So he came and asked, how do you know about Sita and Ravana? How did you see them? How come you came to know about them? Then Sampati replied that, my dear Vanaras, once upon a time, I was very hungry, and then my son Supashwa, who went out to fetch flesh for me, he returned late. The birds, just like he talks about the traits of different species. For Gandharvas, it's the music, it's the talent, it's the, for fishes, they can't close their eyelids, that's their trait. Similarly, for birds, we are very hungry all the time. So I was hungry, and then my son Supashwa went out to fetch flesh for me. And then he returned late that evening, and I questioned him angrily, where were you, what happened? Then he responded, my dear father, today I went to the ocean to fetch some huge fishes for you, but then I couldn't find anything. Suddenly in the sky I found this mascara colored, a mountain cloud-like being, and there was a dazzling lady in his flank. She was wiggling and she was crying out, Rama, Lakshmana. She was wearing wonderful ornaments and wearing a golden, silky, yellow ochre-colored saree. And she was equal to the radiance of the sun. But this Rakshasa was carrying her off, and then I hindered his path. Then the Rakshasa requested me that, please give me way, I have to go to my kingdom in a beggarly manner. And if somebody asks you, pleads you like a beggar, even a wretched person will let him go. And what to talk about a person belonging to family of ours. I also let him go. And when I let him go, all the demigods approached me and appreciated me that you have done a wonderful job. You have saved Sita. You haven't killed her. That's what they meant. And that Rakshasa is Ravana. We are glad that you did not stop him, else he would have killed you. Then the Supashwa came and reported this to Sampati. Then Sampati says, I chastised my son for not attacking the demon Ravana. But this is how I came to know about Sita and Ravana. And then he continues, once upon a time, my brother Jatayu and I myself, during the time when Indra killed Vritrasura, at that time we both flew higher and higher and higher to reach the sun. I have seen earth in the form of a wheel. So they have seen that earth was a sphere at that time itself. I have seen earth in the form of a wheel, of the size of a wheel, when we were approaching the sun. But then it was hot and hot and hot, and finally I was tired and I was exasperating, and my brother too was tired and he was falling down because of the hot sun rays. Then I tried to cover him with my wings and we both fell down, and then my wings were burned. Actually here Sampati is talking about the re-entry, friction caused by re-entry, and he's talking about that heat. So his wings are burnt, and then my brother Jatayu fell down at a place called Janasthana. He said my brother Jatayu might have fallen down at Janasthana. So he also knows the places. He might have fallen down at Janasthana, and then I fell down on the mountain range of Vindhya Parvata. And since my wings were burned, I could not move. I thought of killing myself. But then somehow I stayed there for 8,000 years, and later on I climbed down that mountain to see a sage called Nishakara Maharshi. So crawling with feeble energy, I climbed down and then came to that hermitage of Nishakara Maharshi. There, when the Nishakara Maharshi entered the hermitage, all the animals following him bid farewell to him, and then they left. At that time I fell on his feet. Then he went into his hermitage, he came back and replied, "Oh Sampati, I know you. You and your brother Jatayu in your younger days used to come to my hermitage, and in a human form you used to bow down to me and take my blessings. what happened to you and your brother? What happened to your wings? They are all burnt. Is it because of some disease or some curse? Please tell me all in detail. Then Sampati narrated all the story to Nishakara Maharshi. Then Nishakara Maharshi told him, you will get back your wings and your youth and your energy only when you tell the story that I am going to tell you right now. I have foreseen that in the race of the Ikshvakus, there appears a resplendent king called Dasaratha, and in his family will be born Rama. That glorious king Rama, when he enters the forest and when his wife is abducted by a demon named Ravana to Lanka, his wife is Sita. That Maithili, Sita, in Lanka, she will not eat any food offered by the demons. She will only have food that is cooked by Indra in the heavens. That Indra will bring the divine payasa and hand over to Sita every evening. And that Sita will take a morsel out of that divine payasa and she offers it wherever my husband and my brother-in-law, Lakshmana, are alive. Whether let it be in this world or in the other world. This morsel of payasa belongs to them. And Sita would offer that payasa to Rama and Lakshmana. Then only take the remaining portion. When you tell this story to the Vanaras who come in search of Sita, you will get back your wings. And thus Nishakara Maharshi told me. And as and when Sampati was narrating this story, his wings sprang forth. He got new, renewed wings and renewed energy and life. And then he got up. He lifted himself into the sky and then he flew away. This was the story of Sampati. So should we stop here or? Okay. So then just before leaving, Sampati tells them that the Lanka is 1000 yojanas far away. 100 yojanas far away. He says, I can clearly see Sita and also Ravana on the other side of the shore, 100 yojanas away. Usually the birds, namely the sparrows, the household sparrows, can only, they eat food near their feet. They can see only on the first level. And then the second level belongs to the sparrows and crows and parrots, not sparrows, crows and parrots and doves. So they can see up to a certain distance. And the third level belongs to hawks and hawks and falcons. And the fourth level belongs to the vultures. And the fifth level belongs to the cranes and swans. And the sixth level, the topmost level, belongs to the Vainateyas, so the sons of the lady Vinata. So we can fly so high and yet see so many things. And I can clearly see Sita and Ravana beyond that 100 yojana distance. One might be talking about the line of sight. Maybe by the time when Sampati was speaking, he's talking about he is in the sky. And he's a mammoth eagle too. He is not a small eagle. So he says, I can see I can see Ravana and Sita on the other side. So that's how he confirms the presence of Ravana and Sita. Make arrangements to fly, to jump over these 100 yojanas and reach that city of Lanka. So this is how Sampati passed on the information to the Vanaras. Then Angada questioned. All the Vanaras started to converse among themselves. Who among us can traverse this 100 yojana distance of ocean except Angada and Hanuman? Who can do this? So then they started conversing between themselves. Then Angada came and said, my dear Vanaras, who is that mighty Vanara who can leap this 100 yojana distance of this ocean? Come forward and let me know. And when Angada was saying that, all Vanaras, they said, I can jump 5 yojanas, I can jump 10, I can jump 15. So they started, each one of them started to tell their prowess. So we'll stop at this point, and next week, we'll commence with all the details of how the Vanaras are going to describe their thing. Hare Krishna. Yasvidam Raghunatha Charitam Sakalam Pate Susukshe Gachatyeva Vishnum Yantina Samsaya. One who hears Ramayana will go to Vaikuntha. And that we already have been saying all the time. So this Ramayana we do it every week. Those who are interested can sign up and come for the classes from next week onward. Every week we do it at 4 p.m. So that will conclude. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam. Any questions? Any questions?
Have you seen a difference in the tone of Ramayana being narrated in every stage? Like the Ramayana gets recited and narrated over and over and over again in Ramayana. Have you seen a difference in the way it has been narrated?
No. It is considered, you mean the language, or let's say if Ramayana is recited by Hanuman, his words are little different. Like, he forms it in a different way. If it is narrated by Sita, it will be a different way. It's just the beauty, the lyrical beauty changes, but not the content of Ramayana itself. But again, even although their language is different, but still the entire Ramayana follows a same meter. That you can see how Valmiki has authored it. And it's not like, several different authors have come and authored Ramayana, but it's just one single poem. Let's say if Sita starts with my husband Rama, Hanuman starts with Dasaratha, Sugriva might start with somebody else. They might start Ramayana at different stages. Whereas Angada starts with the fight between Vali and Sugriva, his Ramayana. So like that there is a difference, but not in the content of Ramayana. Let's say in the beginning of Balakanda, the Sita Kalyanam is there, right? So that marriage is mentioned by Valmiki, and then Sita was asked to narrate the same in detail by Anasuya. Then Sita tells about the bow, the great bow of Shiva. Valmiki says that it is just heavy and 5,000 men pulled it and nobody could lift it. Sita says this bow was not lifted by kings even in their dreams. So Sita adds that tinge of surprise element to that. So that's the beauty of Sita's language. Whenever she speaks, even Rama himself says Smita Hasyantara Kovidam, that Sita's language, it consists of full of wits, wisdom and good words. And when can I hear that Sita's language one more time? Rama tells in the beginning of Kishkinda Kanda. So that's, but Ramayana, the content never changes. Yeah. So did I answer the question? Yeah. Any more questions?